Welcome. I appreciate you joining today. Today I'm going to do my initial impressions video on a new pair of running shoes I got. I got the Li-Ning Red Hare 8 Pro. Li-Ning is a Chinese brand. It is not really sold in the Western countries very much. I did find these shoes were listed on Amazon for $100. I actually ended up going and buying these off of AliExpress, the Chinese Amazon, and I paid $57. I liked the features that they said came with them. I had done some research. I will actually say the length is very true to size. I wear a men's size 11 and a half, but these only went up in half sizes up to men's size 11, and then the next size was a 12. Being that I knew these were a bit more narrow fitting, I had read somewhere that if you go a little bit more length, up a half a size, you're going to get a little bit extra space for your toes. So I went ahead and went with a size 12. I think they fit pretty good. They are a little long, but I do think I appreciate the extra little bit of toe space. They're not overly narrow. I have a standard width foot, and I am comfortable in them. I do think someone that has a wide foot would have a problem in these. For me, they fit really good around the midfoot and in the heel. They don't slip. Well, I say they don't slip. I did have a little trouble with my left foot slipping very slightly, so I did tie the runner's knot just on the left foot, and it locked it in all the way. What caused me to even look at these? I am just such a running shoe geek. I've gone down to, I look at all kinds of brands of shoes, and I saw some ads, some reviews on, including Anta and Li-Ning and 361 Degrees, and there are some others. And I was just very curious because the price point was very inexpensive, and they talked about having a high-end materials. So I decided to give these a try. Their upper is made out of something called boom fiber. I don't know, it does seem pretty thin, but it does seem fairly strong. It has felt comfortable in the 2 runs I've done in it so far, but I can't really say much as far as durability. I've only worn it a couple times. It does not have a gusseted tongue, but the tongue is kind of a medium weight, and it really stays in place well. I haven't had any issue with it moving around. And there is just enough cushion to the tongue to prevent you from feeling lace bite. It is super thin down toward the bottom, but normally you don't feel much lace bite down there anyway. The volume up and down, it seems pretty normal. It is a kind of a medium cushioned heel counter. It's got a nice little pull tab, which I think is nice. It's kind of strange, the lacing actually goes through multiple times through this pull tab in the front, but having pull tabs in the heel and the forefoot, and in the front of the shoe, make it really nice to pull on, kind of like a lot of trail shoes out there. It definitely has some features that try to stabilize it. It's not a stability shoe. It is definitely a neutral shoe, but they do put a TPU thing all the way around the heel and around both sides that goes almost to the mid of the shoe. That definitely gives some stability. And then they put what they call a Pro Lock. It's a TPU stability insert in the middle to give it some torsional rigidity. You'll see the shoe is still pretty flexible. That's partly because the foam that they're using is what they call their boom foam. I've done some research online. Their description doesn't really explain what boom foam is, but as best I can tell, and it actually looks like it and feels like it, the boom foam is a beaded PEBA foam. And in their higher end racing shoes with carbon fiber plates, they're using a combination of this boom foam and then even a bouncier new foam that's not beaded. But this does very much feel like a PEBA midsole. It not having, like I said, I could not find the exact specs. I did read some things where people were guessing it was 35 millimeters in the heel and 27 in the forefoot. I actually think that feels about right. I attempted to measure it, but I'm not, I know I'm not that accurate. So I need to get some better equipment so I can measure midsole heights myself. But I just thought it was worth giving a try. The midsole is very bouncy. I would say I'm comparing it a little bit to, I have the bounciness is probably comparable to my Topo Cyclone 2s that I have, though this has more cushion. It's a little bit more of an aggressive feeling, a little bit more aggressive rocker, and a little bit more aggressive feeling than say my Mount to Coast R1s that I have. That is a PEBA blend. I think this one's more pure PEBA, so it's a little bit more of aggressive feeling. I would definitely still choose the Mount to Coast R1 if I was doing a really long event. I think the little bit more toned down is kind of nice for a longer event. But this definitely makes you want to get up and run, pick up the pace. Even though I do believe it is an 8mm drop, and I usually prefer 6 or less, there's something about the geometry. I just felt like I was hitting further up. I was hitting more midfoot to forefoot every foot strike, so I really wasn't feeling the 8mm that much. Now, if I intentionally walk and I'm hitting the heel, I feel the 8mm more, but I would not say it's a super soft feeling. There's definitely some firmness there, but it's got lots of rebound. They also sell a version of shoe that's called the Li-Ning Red Hare. Red Hare Challenger is their first level of carbon fiber shoe, and it is very similar to this, but it has the carbon fiber plate. It puts the boom foam like this has on the bottom, and then it puts above the plate, it's putting that softer, even softer super boom foam, as they call it. And those aren't that expensive either. I found those, I think they're retailing for about $133 on Amazon, I saw. but you can, again, on AliExpress, I found them as cheap as about $100. So that might be something I want to try at some point in the future. I'm not sure I'm really going all in on Chinese brands, but I just was curious and wanted to give one a try. Like I said, I've only been out in these twice. I've only got about 7 miles in them so far, so this is definitely an initial review. I can't tell you yet even how the foam is going to last. I'm hoping pretty well, being a PEBA-based foam. You can see I've got them dirty. I think this it has good coverage of rubber. I think it does a good job as long as it's even wet or on dry surfaces. Now I did hit some mud, as you'll see I've got mud. It didn't do real good in mud. I slipped in the mud, but it has what it calls GCR, which is ground contact rubber. But anyway, so far I'm liking the shoes, and it's definitely seemed worth my $57 investment to give it a try. I ordered it. It did take about 3 weeks to get in. The price I paid included shipping, and it just took a while to get here. But anyway, I'm finding it very interesting. Li-Ning was a gymnast for China back in the 1984 Olympics. He was very dominant. He won 6 medals in that Olympics, including, I think, 3 golds. And they called him the Prince of Gymnastics. Most people thought he would become a coach after his time as a gymnast, but he ended up going back and getting advanced business degrees and started the Li-Ning sportswear company in 1990. Back in the 90s and even in the early 2000s, within China, the dominant brands were Nike and Adidas. They were 1 and 2, but recently the Chinese brands have taken off. I think Anta is now number 1, followed by Nike. Then it's like Li-Ning and Adidas. So it has become a much more competitive market, and their shoes are doing pretty well. Anyway, I don't know if they will ever become widely available in the US, but I just wanted to give them a try. Anyway, if you enjoyed the review, please consider hitting the thumbs up, the like button. If you're interested in any more of my content, please consider subscribing to my channel. And other than that, I hope you're having a wonderful day. And keep moving!